Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to our first edition of the Face2Face interview podcast for the 2022 season. My name's Rob Howden. David Cole here joining me in the online studio. Yeah, starting a new season. It's fantastic. It is Tuesday, January the 18th. We've already been trackside for one race so far this year. The one that we're looking forward to, and the one that's obviously going to be the spotlight of today, is the opening round of the Challenge of the Americas at the end of the month here, David. Almost time to head back to the West Coast. You and I got a chance to do Florida. We didn't hit Waffle House, which I can't believe we didn't go. But I know that In-N-Out Burger will definitely be a stop very quickly when we get to Tucson. But yeah, out for another edition of the Challenge of the Americas. Looking forward to getting back west.
Well, you weren't eating breakfast, so that's kind of the crutch of it all. Because if you're not eating breakfast, you don't want to go to Waffle House. I eat breakfast every morning, so I may have to force you to go to Waffle House in Florida next time, or even in Tucson. There's one right there.
No, we'll do it for dinner. I'm doing intermittent fasting. I told you that.
Whatever. It doesn't work, Rob. I'm telling you right now. You need at least 3 meals a day. I'm telling you.
Anyways, joining us today as we get started here for the Challenge of the Americas. He's been on the show many times before. This is obviously a big one for the Challenge of the Americas. Let's bring Andy Seesemann in right now. He's going to join us from California as we get set to start. Andy, thank you so much for joining us on this new edition of Face2Face, first one of 2022.
Yeah, that's right. Thanks, guys. Good to see you guys all in your cold weather gear there back east.
Yeah, literally. I haven't left the house in 3 days. We got hit with a major storm here. Snowstorm. I know you don't have to shovel heat out in California, but man, it was definitely cold here.
I can see a cloud from my office here looking out the open window. I mean, it's I got my shorts on. I decided not to wear flip-flops today, but I did put a jacket on, just so
I appreciate that. Listen, let's get started here right now as we go into a new season of Challenge of the Americas Racing. Big one for you guys. 15th anniversary of the series, and I think we'll be celebrating that all year long. But man, that's one of those cool milestones. You don't get a lot of, there haven't been a lot of series in the X amount of years. What years are we into now? 60-something years of the sport of karting that a series has lasted for 15 years. This is pretty impressive.
Yeah, I mean, I'm proud of that fact, and obviously I started with when I started the Gators thing back in 2004, our local program, and then started Challenge in 2008. I mean, I didn't take it over from anybody. I didn't buy it from anybody. I started it from scratch, and
yeah,
it's a testament to the strength of our program that 15 years later we're still going strong.
And I like the evolution of it as well, right? Because it started as a Rotax program. That program, that platform kind of had some issues, and you had to make a pivot and change. You hooked up with the Rock Cup program, and to be honest, was this the 4th year of the Rock Cup? Am I correct on that, or 5th?
This will be 5. This is 5. We did 10 years, 10 years with Rotax and 5 with Rock. This will be your.
And
5.
It's you and I talk about it. It's been a steady 10% growth over that entire 4 years now into this year as well.
Yeah, it's been great for us. I mean, obviously, we all know nothing. Nothing stays the same in karting. You always have to learn to pivot. You always have to learn to be able to adapt. And we were lucky enough. We're in a good enough position that as Rotax did what they did, we were in a position to take on Rock, and they were in a position that they wanted to grow and invest some money. So, it worked out for everybody. I mean, Rock never had a presence outside of Florida, and now we have a nationwide presence, and Challenge is, really bigger than it's ever been. So it's been great.
We're obviously live here right now on both eKartingNews' YouTube channel and on the Facebook as well. Anybody who is lined up and watching here right now, if you have any questions, feel free to put them down in the comments section. We'll take those and be able to bring them to Andy. So if you have anything about the Challenge of the Americas or even the California Rock Championship, we'd be happy to hear that as well. We'll touch on that at the very end just to give Andy an opportunity to talk a little bit. First round coming, January the 28th to the 30th. We're just about kind of 10 days away. Next week, we'll get on the road and get up to Musselman Honda Circuit, Andy, in Tucson, Arizona, an absolutely incredible racetrack. And interesting though is it's probably over the years one of the ones that's had the lowest draw in terms of numbers. I don't know exactly why that is. I think one of my favorite racetracks on which to call a race. But you start off in Tucson this year. We go to Phoenix. We go to Sonoma. We'll talk more about the dates there. But what was the decision behind starting things off in Tucson?
You and I will discuss this. Dave's been part of those discussions. There's 4 tracks we can go to for Challenge. I mean, it's just super simple, right? It's Tucson, Phoenix, Cal Speed, or Sonoma. Those are the facilities that can handle us. Airports close, restaurants, hotels, raceable racetracks. I mean, there's plenty of nice pieces of asphalt, but you can't go to a place where the nearest restaurant is 30 miles away and the nearest airport's 200 miles away, right? I mean,
that's very true.
All of us that promote races, we have to take all those things in consideration. So, every year it's kind of a blend of those four. And this year, every year I kind of agonize who am I going to leave out, and this year it was unfortunately NASCAR decided to schedule on our traditional February date at Cal Speed, and it's supposed to rain here next week, in Southern California. We pulled the Cal Speed date, so I can't move that around. We can't go to Sonoma until March because otherwise it's pouring rain there the first couple months. So it was a real easy decision. I mean, Tucson, Phoenix, Sonoma. That was I think between like 14 and 18. That was kind of we ran that combo for the longest out of any combo, I think.
I want to say this right now too, and people can argue me about it because I know Sonoma race as well. I think Tucson's the best racetrack of the four in terms of the racing itself. The amount of overtake opportunities, turn 1, turn 2, turn 4, turn 7, whatever it is, then through the S's. It is, for me as the commentator, I think it's the best racetrack of the four, personally.
Yeah, it's a great racetrack. Like you said, you've called a lot of races for a couple different sanctioning bodies, and you have the perch that's 60 feet up in the air. I know DC's shins get a little tired at the end of the weekend from walking up and down the stairs.
A lot of steps,
but yeah, for sure. It has a lot of crossovers. There's a lot of left, right, and right, left combos, but they're not so tight where to make a pass you got to really park somebody to do it, right? So a lot of the passes are in the flow of a lap. So there's a lot of passes and repasses, or pass back off for a corner or two, get them back 2 corners later. So I think that's what really adds to it, is that there's a lot of places to attack and then re-attack.
Agreed. Yeah,
it's a big momentum racetrack.
I love it.
Oh, for sure. I mean, people describe it as a mini road racetrack. It's not a road race. I mean, it's a 50-second, 48-second racetrack, right? It's a sprint track. But you're right. Yeah. There's no real big park it, hairpin, first gear in a shifter, or way 4,000 RPM corner. It's not there, right? Everything is.
It's just not there.
Right.
So let's throw this out there right now for those of you who may not have entered as of yet. You guys are, I think you were supposed to close registration on Sunday. You decided to keep it open so we can talk about it here on the show. When exactly is registration closing for next week's race?
As soon as lazy boy Sean really gets around to it, I think is what it comes down to. But I mean, our registration, I mean, it's always a challenge, right? You always want to balance leaving it open late enough that people can register and, move the credit card money around. I mean, look, we're all in the same boat. We all understand it, right? But we have to make it early enough as promoters that we can order all the material we need to bring in, the tires and the fuel and everything. And, if you get 50 people, you only need so much staff. If you get 150 people, you need more staff. So we have to balance all that. The registration was supposed to close Sunday night. We left it open yesterday for happy hour, and then we realized, hey, we're doing this today. Let's leave it open through the end of this show at least, and then Sean will get around to closing it this afternoon so we can close the books.
I like it. All right, listen, 15th year, and I know you guys just came up with a press release. Let's get an opportunity to talk about all the sponsors that you guys have. Anytime you're putting on a series like this, it takes that kind of support from the industry to kick in certain funding, whatever it may be. It allows you to have the prizes and everything you guys do to put the race on that you do. I know you got a really strong list. I don't know if you have it in front of you, but man, that was a great press release to see. There's lots of fantastic entities from the karting industry who are big time behind the challenge.
Oh, for sure. I mean, obviously, we have a lot of people that have been with us for a long time. I mean, Ruthless is our oldest returning sponsor that never left us.
Wow.
Ryan Ruth out there is great. Obviously, Acceleration. Curtis and Brooke came on board several years ago and have been a sponsor. Odenthal, David and Alex from Odenthal Manufacturing, they've supported us for a long time. And then, we've had, Ron White's been with us, Sweet Tech's been with us the past few years with our Rock focus. They weren't really around for the Rotax days, but with Rock, they came aboard. And then GFC, Gary's been there, for since the Rock days for sure. Vemi, Vince Vandrine from Vemi was around during the Rotax days and then circled back around, came back with us for Rock. Took a year off. Last year was tough with COVID in Canada, etc. And then Jesus from P1. He's never been a sponsor of ours. We're very happy to have him. And then an old friend Nash has returned to sponsor a class. So
that's awesome,
man. Oh, forward direction. I almost forgot Greg Welch. Forward direction.
That's right. Yeah.
Those are all our class sponsors. And then you go on to obviously Odenthal and Acceleration chip in for some raffle prizes we do at our drivers meeting on Sunday.
Right.
Joey from Overdrive, who was with us at the very first few years of the challenge, 15 years ago, he decided to build a new motor mount for the Rock Shifter program. And so he's chipped in a few motor mounts to give away to a shifter engine mount at every driver's meeting. Those are the class sponsors. And then obviously, man, one of our main sponsors been with us for a long time is M2 Brandwear. I mean, Mike Giles, he does all of our apparel, all our podium hats, our apparel that we sell. I mean, I'm going to brag a little bit. I think we sell the best swag in the industry, besides the EKN booth, obviously. But I mean, Mike always comes up with some cool new designs with sweatshirts and T-shirts and hats and beanies. Yeah, there you go. And then
is that for running 3rd out of 3?
So,
yeah, wow. It was actually second out of 4, David, and I still beat you again.
Sorry.
I still beat you.
But I mean, I don't know if we were the first to do it, but we started doing it many years ago with Mike, is making podium hats, that have the sponsor names for all the podium winners.
These. It's great marketing tool.
Yeah, these are awesome.
It's great. I love seeing, my favorite one ever was when Bill Wright ran the Winter Tour, and there was Fritz Leesman that won DD2 at the Winter Tour wearing one of my challenge podium hats in the picture. I was like, yes. So it's we've been blessed with a lot of great supporters over the years, and I'm very happy that they continue to come back and help us out.
Let's talk about the hotels right now. I know that that was one thing because I want to try to use this to be able to hit on the people that are going to be at the challenge. Right from the very get-go, Andy, when you lock the schedule and we were talking, you're like, tell people to make sure they get their hotels quick. Yeah. A lot's going on. Again, it's whether it's in Tucson for the Gem Show, Phoenix for what do you guys have out there? What's it called out there?
Spring training.
It's called baseball spring training, Ron. We know it's not hockey, but it's American.
No. There's Grapefruit League, and there's Grapefruit League, and there's another Grapefruit League's is Florida.
Cactus
the Cactus League. Is it the Cactus League? There you go, David. Yeah. Go watch your football, meathead. There's an actual name for it, but you've got it. You 100% have to get your hotels early for the challenge this year.
I was just told today our Phoenix, Tucson was sold out instantly. I had to get another mini block at another hotel that sold out. Okay. In a day or two. They're just hotels right now. I mean, they know they can charge what they charge. I mean, we've been lucky to even get 20 and 15 room, 30 room blocks at a couple of places.
Is that for Phoenix? You mean?
Yeah, well, both Tucson and Phoenix. Phoenix, wow. The original hotel's already sold out. I'm working on trying to find another one, but man, it's hard to find people to play ball. So wow. You really got to use your points or use whatever you can. I mean, we're doing all we can. I mean, obviously we like people staying at the host hotel, but you got to stay wherever you can stay. I mean, once again, I mean, you've been to Phoenix a million times. We're 8 miles down the freeway again because the place is up by the track. We're like over $200 a night.
Wow. Okay. Interesting. Let's get some comments coming in. Daryl Redlin. I like that comment. It says, we would love to be supporting the challenge. Just so damn tough right now with all the COVID crap. I'm really looking forward to running with you guys in late 2022 or the new 23. It's weird to say that. The 23 through championship. Glad to hear you guys are still rocking it. Keep up the good work. Yeah, that's one of the things, Andy, we talked about. Things have obviously calmed down from last year in terms of the border. So the opportunity to get some Canadians to come to the challenge.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, we're not going to have eKart this year, and I'm not sure if some of it's COVID, but a lot of it's due to they had a tremendous flooding situation this winter. I mean, they were wiped out there at the track, so all their time and resources, energy are spent, rebuilding their main business there, which I understand. Perhaps we'll see them a little later, but Vince from Vemi is coming down, and then I haven't talked to him much, but Danny Kasich from Race Lab. He's supposed to come down. He said on his Facebook just the other day he was headed to Tucson from Florida. So if he hasn't asked me for pit spots yet,
guys, that's good.
But Carplex Race Lab, it's a dual thing. I think Carplex is the track, Race Lab is the team. Is that how it works?
Yeah, I like it. That would be a great deal to have them now. Let's talk numbers right now. Do you have? Can you give us any numbers where we are right now? What some of the classes that look big?
Yeah, I mean, our biggest classes, you and I talked about it with David that, 100cc is pretty much taken over the West Coast. The 125 tag thing is a real struggle here. We see it in other regional programs. We see that in the club programs. Everybody seems to either making the shift to the 100cc or the Rock Shifter. That's kind of been a big divide. And maybe as karting ebbs and flows, maybe on the West Coast, the 125 tag thing has just run its course. I don't know, but our entries are super low in those classes. Masters always holds tight with its, strong 10, but with Billy and Wang and Pania and those guys, 3 best Masters guys in the country are racing out of the 10 guys that are racing Masters, GP, but yeah, there's in the 20s for the junior and senior 100s. We're in the high teens in both shifter classes. I mean, I think we're in the high to mid teens with Mini again. So that's been great. We're in our last year's opener, we had 130, and we'll come close to that this year. We're in the, almost to 120 right now, so we always pick up 10 or 12 at the track. So we'll be pretty close to that 130 again. Tucson, as we talked about, is a tough draw. The last time we were in Tucson, we had 106. So I mean, we're already way past that. But yeah, it's weird. It's that extra 2 hours past Phoenix that just gets in people's heads a little bit, and it's a hard place to fly to. You always have to connect through somewhere. Think about Grand Junction, right? Unbelievable racetrack, hard to get to.
Yeah, you're right.
And
yeah,
so.
Hey, but listen, if you get to 130 and you're matching where you were last year, was it Phoenix was the opener last year?
Yeah.
Phoenix was the opener. A place that's very easy to get to and draws a lot of people, a lot closer to Southern California, like you said. In my mind, if you go 130, if you match what you did last year at Tucson, that's a win. That's a huge.
I agree. Win. No, I agree, and I think we'll be bigger. I've had a couple teams already tell me that they have folks that are going to be in Phoenix that weren't here. So, I mean, I don't think by any means it's going to shrink. I think we'll stay pretty consistent with last year, especially losing the.
There you go, right there. Andy Jeff Tompkins says looking to run the Phoenix race for the first time. Seems like a great series, Jeff. It is
good segue. Thanks, Jeff. Good segue.
Yeah, we love it. So the Phoenix date's actually February 25th to the 27th. Just throwing that out there. March 25th, 27th for Sonoma. Go, Dave.
Hey, thanks, Rob. Hey, Dave, why don't you take over now? What's up?
You just mentioned about the growth, like mini category. That's kind of where the growth has kind of been a little bit. Last year you had 15 at the opener and 6 in micro. So that's kind of where you're seeing a little bit more growth than any of the other categories. So that kind of bodes well for the future.
It does. And, we've been told that the challenge with Mini is the carburetor. I mean, that is a well-known, with Rock, for Mini Rock's been around for 10 years, right? And I'm a guy that, the carburetor, whatever, the pipe, whatever, I don't get too fussed about that. I've been a racer for 30 years. I don't worry about one component deciding whether I race or not. But for some folks, the other similar product has a different carburetor and they prefer it. Well, we've, a needle carburetor, whereas the Mini has a pumper carburetor, a Delorto pumper carburetor like the shifters do. And not pumper, I mean fuel pump carburetor, guillotine. And so we have Rock actually working on a new carburetor for the Mini. It won't be out until probably mid this year. But that's a lot of engine builders have told us that that's going to be a big push for Mini probably towards the middle of this year to next, is that the addition of that carburetor is going to make it more similar to the other 60cc on the market and maybe get some more people. So yeah, there's definitely room for growth in that area. And as you said, that's a lot of long-term customers once we get them when they're young.
Yeah, anytime you can have that growth, I think in the cadet categories, you're going to see that potentially rolling into junior and senior over the long term, especially, Andy, with the fact that you really have enjoyed year-on-year growth, like 10 to 15% every year. And this year, you're not going to have that Cal Speed bump going to Cal Speed. If you put that back next year, you're going to see, like you did last year, potentially record numbers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. I mean, and we just keep pushing. And this year with our CRC, hopefully we'll see some growth there. And I mean, literally, we're already talking about 2023, and we're 18 days into 2022, right?
It's long-term planning, Randy. That's what you got to do.
Talk about the midterm elections and next year's.
Yeah, exactly. You mentioned pushing. I don't know if Rob had this in the notes yet, but I since you said push, I want to bring about kind of, overlooking now that we've been doing the pushback bumper stuff, kind of what are your thoughts, going into this season about the pushback bumper? Do you think it's something that's going to be here for good? Do you think that's something that might phase out over time? What are your thoughts on it?
So I'll go back. I was not a proponent of the pushback bumper. And maybe it's because we never had the issues other places had issues with the big starts. I mean, starts are starts. but we never had the massive 20 kart crashes. I mean, you guys have been around my program for 10 years, right? We just never had those issues, right? And whether it was because, you know, if you drove a Rotax on the hard tire and you started smashing people, you couldn't just get back on the throttle and get going again. You know, whatever it was, right? We never had the issues. But then over time, I mean, it's standard equipment on the karts now. So I mean, I don't. At that point, I'm like, well, if it's standard on the equipment on the karts, we're going to run them. Everybody runs them. Let's run them. Now, I understand some other folks have decided to remove it for whatever reasons, but at this point, it's standard on the kart. We have never had any big issues officiating them. You know, for whatever reason, you know, our officials have been around a long time and are very good at what they do. So, you know, we just we're going to continue with them. I don't see no changes in the foreseeable future. I think people I don't want to say karters are different with us, but it seems the respect level is different at my races than other places. And I don't know why. I've never been able to put my finger on it, but they're here.
Different officiating staff. Like I always say that it's still with your officiating staff, it comes down to the personalities and the culture, right? You're dealing with different people and the way they approach.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. We certainly have had Taylor and Mark for a long time. I mean,
he's frozen. He's frozen. We'll see if he comes back.
He's in the middle of that.
Hold on. We should screen capture this.
He is.
It's actually a pretty good one.
For Andy, it's a pretty good look, actually. You're right.
Yeah. Well, let's see if we can remove him and bring him back in.
Let's bump him and see if he comes back in.
I think he lost all internet connection there.
We'll bump him off and bring Andy back in a little bit. You work with Andy. I did want to go through this for those of you tuning in. So the schedule, if you don't have it, January 28th to the 30th, next weekend. We're leaving here just over a week. Thursday, David and I will fly out for that one. February the 25th to the 27th is Phoenix. Again, what Andy has done for many years is try to get that last weekend of every month. Phoenix at February 25th to 27th, and the finale back at Sonoma Raceway once again, March the 25th to the 27th. Let's see if we can bring him back. There he is.
Did I drop out? All of a sudden, just went blank on my screen.
Yeah. You're in that cinder block office. You might as well be inside a safe. It's all right. We just went over the schedule again. Andy, you talked about it. Let's because we're kind of previewing the 2022 challenge. Staff is essentially the same staff as you've had. It's one of the things that's been a constant for you guys is having pretty much the same people in the same positions. Yeah, for sure. I mean, look, I couldn't do my job without Shelby. I mean, Shelby's my rock. You know that. I mean, she's the best scorer in the country. She handles everything that I don't want to do. She handles everything else. Even if I want to do it, she's going to do it better anyway. So I just hand it over to her. My race direction staff is the same. Mark, Taylor, Jocelyn, and Mark Michione. I mean, Taylor's technically the race director, but they're 1 and 1A. I mean, they're almost co-race directors really. And then Casey on the flags, Tyler Brooks. I mean, we're adding a member of Garrett's staff, kid named Ryan Egan, who's in his mid-20s, who does a lot of assistant race directing for Garrett. So I'm trying to make that staff younger. As you know, all our race staffs are getting older. So anytime I can add a 20-something to it, it brings that average age down a little bit, right? Tech's the same. I mean, Dave Davies is having back surgery as we speak. So I think it's today. So we don't have Dave for the first race or two, but we still have Rob Yardley and Tom Martinet. I mean, we have it's all the same guys, right? Your best friend guy on the grid. There's some Canadian announcing. I don't know who that guy is, and then his little sidekick who's not allowed in the Hall of Justice. So that's it, right? Old school. I like it.
But I mean, Nicole, Maddie. I mean, it's the same folks that everybody sees. We always add a person or lose a person every year, but it's never in what I would call the major spots.
Dave.
So that's kind of a key element. And we talk about long-term planning, like who is going to take over when Taylor decides to, go sit in the rocking chair. Or Mark was supposed to, I think, a couple years ago, and he keeps coming back for more. That's kind of, I think that's not only your issue. I think that's the issue of our sport. Younger tech officials, younger race directors, and luckily our scorekeepers are younger, so that's good. So we'll be able to score everybody. But yeah, that's kind of a karting problem that we have in long-term goals. Oh, I I think he froze again.
Did he lock up again?
Oh,
Oh, there he is.
You're back. So what? So
Yeah,
what is
no,
it,
did
Danny?
you
It's a problem
hear
for the whole
anything?
sport.
Yeah.
It is a problem for the whole sport. I didn't hear if, how you started that, but everybody's getting older. I mean, all of us. I mean, all of us promoters. All the bigger promoters are all over 50. It seems like. All our tech and race directors are over 50. It seems like. I mean, maybe there's some guys that I have a few younger. Other people have a few younger people, but yeah, we need to find people to do these absolutely thankless jobs. I mean, I always tease Taylor and Mark. I said, the hardest part about finding a race director is finding somebody dumb enough to do it and then convincing them they were smart once they put my T-shirt on. And
Brooks is a great example of that.
Yeah, no, Brooks, that's right, right, for sure.
Yeah.
But that is an avenue, because he was out of the seat for a couple of years, and you brought him in as an official. So it's almost like you have to go find those drivers that haven't raced in a couple of years and be like, hey, I got a little something to do for you to do.
Yeah.
Just come Friday night. You can work all day Friday. Come Friday night, and then kind of just bring them in a little bit by that.
I bribe him with the trailer bar. Once I get him drunk in the trailer bar.
Yeah. Matt Dixon's got it right there. Thankless job for sure.
It's almost as bad as being a snowplow driver.
You're exactly right. Hey, listen, obviously we're looking forward to getting there next weekend. Let's give you the opportunity as well, because that's one of the things you launched recently based on the input you got from your guys, at the challenge about having a summer rock program. You've kind of evolved it. You keep developing and kind of finding its sweet spot. Talk a little bit about the California Rock Championship and what you have planned for 2022.
Well, based on the feedback I've got, you've seen we've tried a lot of different formats, right? From 1-day formats to blended events with Rock Sonoma, to then last year we did our double weekend up at Pat's Acres, which was well received. So this year we're going full challenge style. I mean, we're basically matching the challenge. We're going 3 weekends. We're going double race day weekends. At 3 great tracks. I mean, we're starting at Cal Speed, so we're going back to our roots down here, and then we're going up to Pat's, and then going back down to Rock Sonoma. So I mean, with 3 of the best racetracks on the West Coast. I mean, like with the 4 that I can choose from down here, you add Pat's into the mix. I just can't go in the wintertime because it's under 3 feet of water.
Right.
But in the summer, it fits right in with what we do. So I don't. We've tried Buttonwillow and Willow. It's just hard with the traveling and the restaurants and the hotels and the facilities. And so we'll open in May at Cal Speed, and then go up to Pat's in June, and then take July off, and then August be down in Sonoma. So the great thing is during May and August, there is no quote unquote national level racing scheduled on the calendar at all.
Yeah.
So there's a huge gap for folks that want to get something in that's a little more competitive than their club, want to travel a little bit, want to put that one monthly bigger race on their calendar. June there is, we're kind of sandwiched in between Pro Tour and USPKS, but there's a 2-week buffer on either side. So Rollison said he's coming to the CRC with a big team this year. It's going to be his summer program. So. That should be great for us. I mean,
and Dave, have we not talked about it? Less is more, right?
Yeah, less is more. And like you said, it provides opportunities for teams to go do some testing, or, if they got new drivers or they're trying to work on something, hey, this is a great opportunity. Hey, let's get some more seat time. Let's do this and do that. And, Cal Speed obviously is always a great racetrack to get seat time in. And then Pat's Acres is going to beat the crap out of you. So that'll physically challenge you. And then as you said, Sonoma, again, another great racetrack. So a lot of different, but yeah, less is more. And that's, the less weekends, like Mike Smith said in our comments, less weekends, double rounds is kind of more the go-to now for a lot of the racers, just because they can get it all done on a weekend rather than having to go to 6 multiple weekends.
Yeah, it's hard. I mean, the travel and the time. I mean, we all talk about the expense of karting, but it was always the 3 T's, right? Tires, time, and travel.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, it's getting the time off work. It's all the traveling, especially now as difficult and as expensive it is. So we're just trying to, fill in and find our niche, in the summer for rock races in the West.
And we're coming to Pat's.
That's right. You're right.
EKN Trackside Live. I love that racetrack. I love that family, the Eggers, and I'm excited to get up there. David, we figured out you've never been there, right?
I've never been there.
Never.
I've been to Portland. I went to the road race there for IKF Road Race Grand Nationals at least once. I don't think I went there twice. I think once. And that's the only time I've been there. I've been to Seattle maybe twice, and that's about it for the Pacific Northwest for me.
Yeah, looking forward to it for sure. And Andy, feedback from the teams on that change, on that trip, the 3 double weekends, was it positive?
That was positive. It was suggested by the teams. I mean, once again, because it's the less is more, right? It's less time for them to be away from home, but it's less expense. They get more bang for their buck out of the mechanics, and the customers get more bang for their buck because it's only one. In the end, it's literally one extra day, right? But you get twice the racing. So I mean, instead of teams showing up on say a Thursday and going home on a Sunday, now they show up on a Wednesday and go home on a Monday or whatever, but they get twice as much racing in. So it's better all around, I think, and we'll see. Hopefully it'll be well received and we'll be able to build on it.
Well, the crazy thing is that you've essentially rolled into this program and grown this thing over the last couple of years in the midst of the COVID-19 pandemic. You can imagine what it would be like without it, but obviously the growth is there. Looking at potentially getting up to that 130 mark for the opener in Tucson next week. I think I'm excited to get out there. I'm excited to get this program rolling again for 2022. All things point to another tremendous season.
Yeah, for sure. I'm excited. I would have never thought, in when do we announce this? August 2007, we were at Centennial in that hangar at the Rotex National.
I remember.
That's right. I do
and
too.
we announced the challenge, and look fast forward 15 years, you're like, oh my gosh, how did the time flew? And to think, when you start something, you don't think, okay, what's it going to look like in year 15, right? But it's incredible. It's been a great journey, and I hope we're able to put another 15 more in the books, and we'll be looking back at this 15 years from now going, oh my God, we hit 30.
Yeah, I'll be 68 years old.
I was going to say Rob probably won't be around. Rob will be the guy working grid.
Yeah, I'll be the beach somewhere.
That'll be the new guy. Rob is the new guy.
Rob is going to be on a beach somewhere. 100%.
I won't announce. I'll work grid. I don't care.
All right. See, DC he's a soldier, man.
That's it. He'll do grid.
I do all the work here, so
That's true. That's 100% true.
Oh, hold on. He's out. Sean is out.
That doesn't surprise me at all.
I think 30 years from now, shoot, I don't know what he'll be doing.
15 years from now, not 30.
15 years. Yeah.
15 years from now, it gets to the 30th anniversary.
Yeah.
Well, listen, Andy, thanks for taking the time. I appreciate it. I know that you're still packing things up. And when do you roll? What are you heading out there Monday?
We're rolling Monday, Sunday.
Right?
We're rolling Sunday. As it's the opener. We have a lot of things to do, and Tucson. We haven't been there in 2 years, and I flew out there in December and made a list for Charlie, things to handle on the property, and I'm sure there may be still a few things on the list when I get there. So we were decided to go a little early and handle a few things. We got a semi truck full of tires and fuel and stuff coming on Monday. So Eric and I are rolling out Sunday, so we'll be ready to go.
That's awesome, folks. We'll have, of course, EKN Trackside Live coverage throughout the entire event. We're planning another one of our tent talks that we launched at the SCUSA race. We're going to do one of those at the Challenge Challenge opener as well. We'll have coverage on Saturday and Sunday, as we always will. Paddock Insider, the full EKN Trackside Live package coming from the Challenge. David's going to be good, getting out west, getting back out to the Challenge family. And again, that's one thing we always bring up, right? That's kind of the trend when you talk about culture of a different series. It's definitely a family when you get trackside for a Challenge race.
Yeah, and get to enjoy those hot pit last session on Friday. I always like seeing those because again, it's just interesting to see all the different changes and ideas that people have for that last session of the day, whether they're working for qualifying or whether they're working for tomorrow's main events. It's really interesting to watch.
It's actually my favorite session of the weekend. It signifies two things for me. One, that's the session where I officially hand over the event to all my staff. And I go sit down with a red cup, right? Because at that point, right, all the pieces are on the board. It's done. I got to show up for trophies at the end of every day, right?
Yeah, that's true.
But it's like you said, that to me basically says we're taking the gloves off and we're throwing down. This is when competition starts. Really, is that last session on Friday? It's my favorite.
That's 100% true. Andy, thank you so much for joining us, buddy. I appreciate it. We'll see you next Thursday.
Sorry for dropping off a couple times. I'll see you guys.
You're good. You're good. There he is, folks. Andy Seesemann from the Challenge of the Americas and the California Rock Championship, 15th season. And David, you remember how many years have we been going to it? When was our first year?
2012 was our first year. So this is our 10th.
This is our 10th year. This is 10th for us there. It's been great. Always a great opportunity to be part of that program. And it's been cool to see it grow. Racing's always amazing, especially at Tucson. I'm looking forward to getting there. I know you are as well. It'll be our second race. I'm not sure how many we're doing all this year, but second race, EKN Trackside Live. It's going to be fun.
It's going to be a blast. Again, Tucson, I'm going to get my workout going up those steps, but you get to go to, again, warm weather. We're going to do Waffle House. We're going to do In-N-Out. We're going to do a couple other local establishments we normally hit when we're in Tucson as well.
Isn't that Crossroads?
Crossroads is probably one of them. And then, the Sunday night dinner depends on the mood, I think.
That's exactly right. That's good. All right, folks, thank you so much for joining us for this first edition of the Face2Face show for 2022. Again, next week we'll be trackside. Looking forward to getting, again, to Tucson, Arizona. Big thank you to Andy Seesemann for joining us here. Again, this will be turned into a podcast like it always will be. We'll have it on the EKN Radio Network first. Then it'll become a podcast. If you're watching here on YouTube, make sure you're subscribed below. Click that like button. We do appreciate it. Subscribe to the content. We've got lots more coming throughout 2022. And we are done, though, folks. On behalf of David Cole, I'm Rob Howden. Bye for now. And Seesemann bails.